Hi everybody, today we are going to be working on lesson 5.3 in our Go Math materials. So you will need lesson 5.3, which starts on page 303. We're going to be working through some of these problems together. And then, of course, at the very end, what you're going to do is you're going to work through the homework problems that I assigned to you and then submit those to me on the Google form, okay? So we're on page 303 at the top where it says unlock the problem. And we're actually going to look through this together and work through a few of these, okay? So it says Carmen likes to ski. The ski resort where she goes to ski got 3.2 feet of snow during a 5-day period. So over the course of 5 days, they got 3.2 feet of snow, okay? The average daily snowfall for a given number of days is the quotient of the total amount of snow and the number of days. And that's going to make sense here in just a second. So today what we're going to be doing is we are actually going to be, let me get to my pens here. We're actually going to be estimating. So right here it says to estimate the average daily snowfall. Okay, so you can estimate decimal quotients by using compatible numbers. And I want you to underline those words, compatible numbers. Okay, this is going to help you tremendously when it comes to division. When choosing compatible numbers, you can look at the whole number part of a decimal dividend or rename the decimal dividend as tenths or hundredths. We're going to talk about this, okay? So we are taking 3.2 and dividing it by 5, but we're coming up with an estimate. So it says here, Carly and her friend Marco each find an estimate. Since the divisor is greater than the dividend, they both first rename 3.2 as tenths. So Carly's work is right here, and we're going to look at that. And then we also have Marco's, which is right here, okay? So let's look at this together. Carly and Marcos, both of them, took 3.2 and renamed it as 32 tenths. 32 tenths, okay? Then what Carly did is she took 30 tenths right here, and she said that's close to 32. So I'm going to take 30 and I'm going to divide it by 5 because that's a compatible number for 5. 5 fits into 30 exactly 6 times, which would make it 6 tenths, which is just 0.6. So Carly's answer is 0.6 feet of snow fell each day. Now Marcos did it a little different. He changed 3.2 to 32 again, but instead of using 30 like she did, he used 35. He rounded it to 35. Because 35 is a great compatible number for 5. So 5 fits into 35 7 times, or 7 tenths. So he said that 0.7 feet of snow fell each day. Okay, so they both used compatible numbers to be able to do mental math in their head. So number 1 down here says, whose estimate do you think is closer to the exact quotient? Explain your reasoning. Now this is where I'm going to draw a number line, and I'm just going to explain it to you as I do it. So if I have a number line, and I've got 30, and then I've got 35, and in between I have all the other numbers. So I have 31, 32, 33, and 34. So I look at what Carly did. Carly changed 32 to 30, okay? And then Marcos changed it to 35, okay? The actual number was 32. So now I want to look and see who was closest. So Carly was only 2 jumps away. Marcos was 1, 2, 3. So Carly was a little bit closer. So down here, I would say Carly because $30 is closer to 32. So the estimate 30 is closer to 32 than 35 is. Okay? Let's take a look at the next question. We're actually going to go to, we're going to go to page 304 and look at the next one over there. So let me get my pens here. There we go. All right, so on page 304, at the top where it says example, that's going to be the first one we're going to look at. So it says a group of 31 students is going to visit the museum. The total cost for the tickets is $144.15. About how much money will each student need to pay for a ticket? Now, here we're starting with money, okay? So we're going to look at two different scenarios. Part A and Part B is going to walk us through those. So we're estimating $144.15 divided by 31. So Part A says to use a whole number greater than the dividend. So they've taken 144.15 and they've changed it to 150 because that is a compatible number for 30. 150 is greater than 144. So let's take a look at that one by itself. So if we have 150 divided by 30, I can do this mentally in my head. 15, ignore the zeros for a second. 15 divided by 3 is just 5. And they each have a 0, so we only add 1. Okay? We only add, I'm sorry, they each have a 0, so we don't add any. That was my fault. So each ticket would be about $5. So each student should have to bring about $5 to get a ticket into the museum. Let's look at the next one, Part B. They changed this time 144.15 into a smaller number, which is 120, because 120 is a great compatible number for 3. So they take 120 and divide it by 30. Ignore the zeros. 12 divided by 3 is 4. And since they both have a 0, we don't have to add 1. So they get $4. So each student will pay about $4 for a ticket. Okay. Now down here on number 3, it says, which estimate do you think will be a better estimate of the cost of a ticket? Explain your reasoning. I'm going to tell you right away, dealing with money, you always pick the larger one. Okay, so the $5 would be better because it's always better to have a little more money than not enough, right? So I would say, the $5 estimate because, it's better to have more money than not enough. Okay? So again, compatible numbers help us solve these problems. We are going to turn to page 305 and work through a few of those, and then I will go ahead and assign your homework. Okay, so on page 305, let's take a look at a few of these ones together. I want to look at number 4 first, because I think this is a great example for us to use. So we have 17.9 divided by 9. So I want to come up with compatible numbers that I can easily just quickly do in my head mentally, okay? So 17.9, let's change that to 18. Because 18 is a great compatible number for 9. Because 18 divided by 9 is just 2. So that would be a good estimate for us. Okay, that would be a good estimate for us. Now let's look at number 5. 5 is going to be different for us. What if I have 145.4 divided by 21? Now this time I'm going to make 2 compatible numbers because 21 is not going to be easy to work with, okay? So 145.4, what if we change that to 140? That's pretty close to 145. And we change 21 to 20. Okay? I can now do this in my head mentally. Ignore the zeros. 14 divided by 2 is just 7. And since there was that we both crossed out a 0 on both sides, our estimate is close to 7. Okay. Let's look at number 6. 15.5 divided by 4. Okay, so a good compatible number for 4 would be 16, and 15.5 is close to 16. So if we do 16 divided by 4, like that, we can use these two compatible numbers because we already know that 4 can fit into 16 4 times. So a good estimate is 4. Okay. All right, let's take a look at our homework. So I've actually already circled them for you, but I'll go through and let you know what they are. So on page number, let's see, this is page 307. You are going to be working on 2, 3, 6, 7, 9, 10, and 13. Please know that it says use compatible numbers to estimate the quotient. You are not finding the actual answer, you're just finding an estimate using compatible numbers. Again, you are working on 2, 3, 6, 7, 9, 10, and 13. Whoops. Then on page number 308, you are working on number 1 and number 6. Okay, on page 308, you are working on number 1 and number 6. Don't forget that once you have finished these problems up, that's a total of 2, 4, 6, 7, 9 problems. Once you finish these up, go back to our classroom and make sure you fill in the Google form. Okay, if you do not fill that in, I do not know that you've done it. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.